Okay, and we're back. Another video. Now, like the past few, there is a defining category um, governing what records I've chosen to take a look at this particular installment. However, it's a very loose category. There are some similarities, but the nucleus of the group of records that I'm going to be looking at are really just two that I think sound nice together, and that's partially only because I got them on the same day. So, very arbitrary, arbitrary categorization here, if I'm going to be honest. But I think they go nicely together, so fuck it, we're going to look at them. As I say, the first two are two that I acquired on the same day at a store just down the road from this location. From my fucking house. Okay, they're down the road from my house. Now, these were both in the used section, which is pretty funny because this first one I got for like 18 bucks, but they also had it on sale for 26, but unused, and I mean, it's in fine condition, so who the hell cares? I have a break from the music I usually talk about, although this shouldn't be too much of a surprise that I listen to them. This is Year of the Snitch by Death Grips, which is that, I feel like as far as like industrial noise rap or like industrial hip hop or what have you goes, is probably the biggest name in that genre. And I'm looking into other projects that could be defined as such because I do think it's an interesting concept. So this put out last year, 2018. And as you can see here, it's actually one of the few, I guess, larger, not completely underground publications I have, releases, what have you. So here's the sleeve. Got lyrics on the side. There's more of these bubbles with this pattern here, and then the other side is black with just some images, some light shining through some prism, and then a leather jacket there. It's very interesting. Now, I didn't even know because it was in the used section, but this one is actually on clear. Now, like with the other, I guess, higher budget record I have, the LP wasn't perfect. There was a little bit of extra wax here, although I found that also happens with underground shit, or underground. I mean, happened with a bunch of the stuff from Final Agony I got the other day that we're gonna be taking a look at whenever. But yes, this album really, okay, so I say I like to listen to it in concert with other records, and there's got to be a reason for that, other than I got them the same day. This is definitely really exhilarating, triumphant release. There's a lot of just ebullient chaos emanating from it, and it's much easier on the ears than, say, like a metal or noise or grind album that could be described in the same terms, as evidenced by the fact that the next album is a noise grind record that I tend to define in those terms, or like noise, grind, sludge, garbage music, whatever. This is one I got the same day, also from the used bin, probably for like 18 bucks, and these two records are never far from one another. When I'm listening to one, I'm listening to the other. This record is very intense, quite noisy, quite interesting. All of it still has the same radiant energy that I think in part has to do with the art associated with it, not necessarily just the music, but as a result of the music to some degree, I have to say. Um, and that would be the Body and Full of Hell's collaboration with the title Ascending a Mountain of Heavy Light. Now you have to admit, this art, like, it definitely adds, like, cover art, I think, really does predispose one to imagining a certain kind of thing from an album. Now, whereas the other record was kind of glossy, this one's pretty matte. That's something I like. And like I say, it's a good thing I picked them up at the same time, because these just, personally, I think they go together. Okay, what's this? Oh, okay, there's just a download code, but I got it from a used record store, so. God, I tend to doubt there's a viable download code in there. So, one side of the sleeve, here's the other, and this is also a fairly recent release. Must have been like 2017, 2016 time frame when it came out, unless I'm mistaken. Alright, so here we have the labels. Now this is actually a pretty interesting record to feel the edges of, like in a tactile sense. This is not something you'd ever think to call like waxy or like a slab of anything. It was very narrow, very stiff, the edge of it sanded down. It almost feels like a slate tablet that has music engraved upon it. Like I've seen with these, I believe they were Italian operas or something. A couple LPs I saw. I forget where, like a thrift store or something. But there was these like slate discs almost, is what they felt like. And they had music engraved upon them. It's very interesting. So I really could cut the video off here, and I would have talked about the two records that I think go together so perfectly. They really do. They really do. The I guess the garnish of noise that, well, garnish fucking the lighter amounts of noise that Death Grips uses with their very energetic and triumphant songs versus the more noisier but still very vibrant and virile and aggressive sounding Full of Hell in the Body tracks. It's a nice combination. Very good pairing. Now the next record, I don't know what other video I'd show it off in, because it's unlike, by some metrics, most of the other records in my collection. This is the only piece from this even subgenre I actually own at present, and that would be Scared to Death by King 9, which, if y'all are unaware, is a New York hardcore band. Definitely on like a heavier end. Like there are a lot of influences from various types of metal, I suppose you could say. It's definitely not grindcore by any means, but it's also not like punk or like old school hardcore punk or whatever. Or maybe it is, and I just don't know enough. I just hear certain metal influences because that's what my ear is trained to pick up on. They claim to be influenced by like black metal and shit, but it's only a couple riffs, or like one riff I can really think of where I would agree with that conclusion. Like I said, this is really outside of the purview of what I usually talk about and listen to. I think it's pretty good. I think their other albums are, for the same reason, are decent. This is one I got off Discogs because dude was selling it because it's a little bit. There's like a some like flash of like vinyl there, but it doesn't really affect anything, honestly. He didn't even know what. I don't believe it was actually listed what color it was, although he must have known because he looked. I mean, he looked at the records, so he must know. Here are the labels. We've got fucking song titles there, the logo, and album titles. On the back, we just have this dude, probably like, I don't know, the vocalist or some shit. Like if I really had to guess. Put out by Mass Movement, which, I don't know what that is, so tells you how much I know about the genre. Anyway, and then this is interesting. There's this little sticker here, like this label maker type of shit that tells you who made the artwork, which I think is interesting. Lyrical themes on this? I say it goes. Lyrical themes is a lot of what I take to be normal hardcore shit. I don't know. A lot of talk about, I guess, stuff that accompanies living in a city and being, I wouldn't say working class, because that's more of like an oi thing, but like working class, if I'm honest. Talking about like, the daily hardships and grind through life, and talk about people being addicted to heroin and shit. This insert that has all the lyrics on it is sort of patterned after this newspaper here, and that's where I'm getting all this information from. What I'm saying about the lyrical themes. Yeah, R.I.P. these individuals. I don't know who they are, but yeah, rest in peace, y'all. That can be construed as disrespectful. Shouldn't say things like that. Yes, that's it. So yes, I can definitely see where, just reading these lyrics, people tend to associate the genre with like sort of unnecessary, shallow aggression. Like, I mean, the argument could be made, right? You could take that away from these lyrics, but I don't know. It's not honestly anything I would complain about. Oh dear. Alright, we just got one more record to look at. This is one that I think probably is closer to the fold with what the first couple things I was talking about are. Excuse me, that's not a correct sentence. This one's sort of closer to the fold that I established with the first couple records, like in that it's a more like noise influenced crust or like grind type of deal. Although it's also more bleak and I guess well, so what's the other one? Definitely more bleak, more I wouldn't say nihilistic because this does express values, but it's one of those records where it's, and the project is one of those bands that's like environmentalist to the point that they're actually against humanity. Like they're really just masochistically environmentalist, if you will. And that would be Man is the Bastard, Bastard Noise, The Lost, Man is the Bastard section. Now, I was introduced to Man is the Bastard by an individual who was actually 13 at the time. We were communicating on the internet, so I didn't know him better. This is also the first gatefold we're going to be looking at. Has lyrics in here to the 4 different tracks. Well, yes, the 4 different tracks. Although actually, the way it's divided up, or excuse me, so the 3 songs that are listed here. So there's 3 songs inside one. Side 4. It's divided up into parts, like numbered parts. Like there's like in Roman numerals 1, 2A, 2B, 3, 4. Like it's almost as if the last track is supposed to be, because it's the entire side. So it's quite long. As if the entire side is actually subdivided into like tracks, something you might expect from noisecore. So let's take a look at the record itself before we get on to that. And what I mean by sort of the anti-humanity, as opposed to or in favor of, I guess, the natural world. I get that from 2 sources. This is as you'll see later, this is a very environmentally conscious project, and there really is no reason not to be. Although personally, if between you and me, even though this might be unrealistic, like environmentalism should be redressing humanity's role with the natural world. In such a way to be beneficial to both, but at least that's how it had been conceived of, and I don't know. Advocating against your own species just seems wrong to me, so fuck it. Anyway, but how I can tell you for certain that this is, whatever my views may be, an environmentalist record for certain, is that, so first of all, so there's this little insert that folds open as well. So we've got some Man is the Bastard skulls here. Got some kind of the dedication. And then, information regarding the art, regarding the recording, regarding who it's dedicated to. But then on the other side, we also have a list of environmental groups that you can support, that they would advocate that you support, in fact. Now, okay. There is one last piece that came with this record. However, it's not in the record right now. Kind of in it's almost in a bit of a limbo state right now. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. This record, in addition to the insert, also had a poster come with it, which I will show you in just a moment. And this is the piece of evidence from which I get my thoughts on House's very self-destructive take on environmentalism, as far as that goes. And this one is a bit, it's like the Highlight record, like the sleeve is a bit warped, so it's a bit hard to close. The spine looks quite large, like a bit larger than the others on my shelf. It is what it is though. I mean, I didn't even know the record was going to be that color, but it's a pretty nice. I wonder what they called that variant, because I got it off Discogs. He didn't say what color it was. He didn't say he knew, or he said he didn't know, rather. I wonder what they called that variant when it was first released. It's probably like congealed human fat or some shit, because the poster is actually, if you've ever seen one of those charts that shows you the different cuts of an animal, I've seen a number because I had an uncle who was a chef for a while there, but that's essentially what they've done here. Is Long Pig, the greatest prey of all, our fellow man, and then there's these little either their alternate names for the parts that I'm not even sure if they're real, like if cannibals have actually come up with these over the years, or if it's just some of them are just little quips, like that one. Obviously, just a little quip about their other beliefs. But yeah, you might see that here in the near future. I don't know. God damn, I did not mean for this to be a 20-minute video. This is literally 4 records that I listened to each other together sometimes. Shit. Yeah. I'll see you soon.